Hello everyone, very good morning and welcome back to Crack Grade B. So today in this lecture we are going to start the schemes which has been launched by Ministry of Rural Development in all these years, right? First of all, we will start with some schemes which have been launched in the past. They are not having very much relationship with the present schemes in some schemes, but some schemes have been restructured and revised and reformed into a new kinds of schemes. So before studying the new schemes which are relevant for us now, we will focus a little bit focus on what have been the schemes which has been launched by the government in the past. So before starting with that, I would like to tell you one more thing, that starting from the period from 1960s till your early 2000s, these were the years with the what we call it as a coalition government, right? So governments were changing very frequently. Every government which was coming, they were trying to leave an impact of their own on the mind of people. Hence you will see that lot of schemes have been the content has been the same, but the names have been revised again and again, right? So because in this particular lecture, I am going to talk about these many schemes, and you will see that the content is same, but schemes are revised, merged, and renamed frequently. So one possible reason of this was that governments were coming, governments were trying to revise the scheme as per their own whims and fancies, right? So, and it is a drawback of your prime ministerial kind of government as well. So now let's start with history of poverty alleviation and development programs in India. One by one, we'll see all the kinds of schemes. And let me tell you that these previous schemes for which I'm going to talk about it, I'm not going to talk about them in detail because my focus will be the schemes which are currently in present. But your focus should be name of scheme, the year in which it has been launched, what is the purpose for which it has been launched. These three things are very crucial for all the past schemes which we are going to do. Apart from it, if you can remember the contents of scheme with much clarity, that will be appreciated, right? So number one, see, I'll cover them quickly. So number one is your IATP, that is Intensive Agricultural Development Program. The year was 1960-61. Why this particular year? So this was just a decade after when we got our independence. India was still not independent of the food because we were importing our food from the USA and grains, all of these. If you know the PL 480 program, under that particular program, we were importing grains from USA, and we had to import food grains. That was the reality of that particular time. So food security was very much crucial for Indian government, and hence you will see many programs have been launched in order to secure the food component of our country. So for number one is Intensive Agricultural Development Program. In few districts it had been launched, and the component was improved seeds, irrigation, fertilizer, plant protection. Next is your 1964-65. Lal Bahadur Shastri was the president, and he launched Green Revolution. Green Revolution was all about fertilizers, pesticides, and high yielding variety crop seeds, right? So this was that year. Next is your Rural Works Program 1970-71. Indira Gandhi was your prime minister, and it was formulated with the object of creating assets so that severity of drought can be reduced. Now please focus on it. The program which you know as Mahatma Gandhi Narega nowadays has its humble beginning from 1970 onwards, right? So what they are trying to do over here is they are trying to create the assets so that drought prone areas assets can be created over there. Now what kind of assets? Like your ponds, wells, and all those things. Later it was redesignated as drought prone area program. Coming to 1973-74, drought prone area program. What you are trying to over here at minimizing the adverse impacts, you are focusing on irrigation products, land development programs, afforestation, and everything that needs in a rural infrastructure to reduce the severity of the droughts. Next is hill area development program. Now this particular program was for specific hill districts of the country. Given is your hill districts of Assam, UP. Why UP? Hill districts in UP? Because at that time Uttarakhand was the part of UP. Darjeeling, West Bengal, Nilgiris, Tamil Nadu and Western Ghats as well. These 15 districts, what they wanted to do over here is they wanted the development of hill area by focusing on horticulture, plantation agriculture, animal husbandry, forestry and small scale village industries, right? Next is command area development program. Command area development program was, command areas are those areas where your irrigation projects have been developed, right? These are nearby areas of the irrigation projects, hence they are known as the command areas. So the aim was to reduce the gap between irrigation potential and actual utilization, and so that socio-economic conditions of the farmers can be improved. Now what they wanted to do under this particular program, they wanted to construct the field channels, introduction of suitable cropping patterns, development of groundwater, modernizing maintenance of irrigation system, and then in 2004 it was renamed as Command Areas Development and Water Management Program. Now see, as new governments come and they bring in their new kinds of schemes, their new name schemes, hence they immediately change the old schemes and merge them into the new scheme. So now this Command Area Development Program have been merged under Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana from 2016 onwards. So you will see the renaming of scheme frequently. Next is minimum needs program. What is this minimum needs program? So here you wanted to focus the minimum needs of the rural areas and the what you can say the poor population in general. So see, first of all, you are focusing on the universal elementary education for children up to the age of 14 years. Again, then adult education, public health facilities, rural public health facilities, so provision of drinking water, rural electrification, environmental improvements in slums, provision of all weather roads as well as the nutrition. Correct? So you are focusing a holistic focus on the rural population. Again, try to remember this particular thing into your mind. We are reading the schemes which have been launched by Ministry of Rural Development. Hence, the focus areas of all these particular schemes will be on the rural areas, right? Next is Integrated Tribal Development Program. Please read it by yourself. Next is Food for Work Program. Now, Food for Work Program, the idea of this particular program launched in 1977. 1977 was the government of Morarji Desai that came after the emergency. Right. So at this particular time, they launched the Food for Work program. That means if you will work, we are going to pay you wages in form of food. Right. So what they wanted to do over here? They wanted to create rural areas. In rural areas, works of durable utility. That right now we are doing under MG Narega. The same kind of work. This program was subsumed with the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act in February 2006. Next is Desert Development Program. Again, focus was on drought-prone areas, desert area development and integrated watershed program. All these merged into the Integrated Watershed Management Program. Please try to remember what was the name of old scheme, in which year it has been launched, and in what new scheme this has been merged. Next is Integrated Rural Development Program. Here what you are doing, small and marginal farmers, agricultural laborers and rural artisans are the beneficiaries. After that, this particular program has been merged into a single program known as the Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. TRISEM and DWCRA are two special components on this. Now what is TRISEM? TRISEM, this has been asked. This was launched in 1979 and this was for training of rural youth for the self-employment. Please, moving forward, you will read that all of these have been merged under Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. What were the components of TRISEM? So the components were to provide the training and self-employment to the rural unemployment youth. Components: need-based technical skills provision so that they can take self-employment as whatever is suited to them. Training is provided through the regular training institutions like polytechnics on the selected master craftsmen. Marketing facilities are also provided for the products which are made by the beneficiaries. Next is your 1980s National Rural Employment Program by Ministry of Rural Development. Here we wanted to create additional gainful employment. Implementation was by the district rural development agencies, and food grains were also provided at the rate of 1 kg for man day. 1989 National Rural Employment Program and the Rural Labor Program that got merged under the Jawahar Rojgar Yojana. DWCRA, Development of Women and Children in Rural Areas. Please read this because they have got later merged. Next is Rural Landless Employment Guarantee Program by Ministry of Rural Development. Here what they are trying to do is they are trying to provide employment to rural landless workers. Now who are rural landless workers? Those workers who are working as a labor on small fields, or you can call it as agricultural fields. They are not having agricultural land of their own, hence they are called as the landless workers or laborers. So when I say labor, rural laborers, that means I want to say rural landless workers, because if they are having what you can say farm of their own, then they would have been merged under the scheme which were for the farmers. But here we have created a separate scheme for them. Now here they have tried to provide a guaranteed employment for one person in every household up to 100 days in a year. So this was the starting. Now the national